government leadership, I think it's time for the governments to call their citizens together, speak honestly and openly about what is happening and what is expected, with words guided by science. And, there's many countries in this part of the world that do that. Countries like Singapore are really honest about what's going on. And I think it's an opportunity for our leaders of the world to stand up and really, be in this time, be in this moment, and be the leader the world needs right now. We need all government leaders to set in place plans that are aligned with climate scientists and what they're predicting and communicating. And we need to start adapting now. I'm so frustrated by the lack of adaptation all over the world, because extreme climate events keep putting everyone on their back foot, and we need to start getting onto the front foot, because when we react after the disaster's already hit, what's the point, right? We know what's coming. That scientists have been telling us for decades what's coming. We're here. It's accelerated. We've got to accelerate the action. But I think real honesty from governments and real spending on what needs to be spent on to get the communities prepared. Because like we're seeing in Libya, if you don't do it, the rage of the citizens will certainly follow.
And I think this is where transparency is critical, openness and engagement with citizens too. And corruption is another area that must be addressed and tackled. Governments must also walk across borders for the good of the region and share best practices, help solve challenges that contribute to the crisis, like the haze, and rapidly reduce fossil fuels, especially coal, or this will keep getting worse. So please vote for leaders who will act on the polycrisis denialists, which will kill you and your family. So you got to put an ear to the ground and really see and have a touch on the pulse to know what's really happening.
Yeah. And politicians who care as well, right? We're seeing the big show going on in the US. It's like, when are they going to actually govern? But anyway, communication is critical. So governments must put in place now national communications plans, and they've got to set up the system for the communication to ensure it reaches everyone under their care. They've got to put in place a team to manage this and get prepared before the next emergency strikes. We saw, I think we're going to talk about it, we've seen so many communication failures. So national and local communication will be vital.
So I think while we are in the era of digitalization and everything going digital, technology taking on another pace, we really need to still think about communicating at a low tech level. Millions of people still do not have access to digital technology. And this is something we saw during the pandemic, even in wealthy countries. In Maui, Hawaii, communication was a failure because nothing worked anymore. In Libya, there was no warning at all. All communities need to consider communication, such as public screens, notice board with extreme temperature alerts, so everyone is aware of the risk. Local media must share this information too. So really think about how do we ensure everyone gets the information no matter where they are, and we really need to push for this to happen.
Yeah, and different types of alarms. Like one of the reasons in Maui why they didn't issue the alarm is because it was for a tsunami, and they were worried that everyone would run away from the water towards the fire. And there's a lot of anger and criticism, and I think a lot of mistakes will be made. But I think really thinking through what systems we need in place and how do we communicate, because we're talking about the grid falling over. That also means telecommunications. So if you can't communicate through mobile phones, and that's the only one you're relying on, then what's going to happen. So really need to start thinking about this and getting in place. And even if they put these big sort of what do you call those speakers up all over the place, are they going to survive the heat? If a heat extreme hits. So really thinking it through is important. Uncommon courage.